Hello everyone, and thank you very much for your attention and for participating in this stream. Today is 10th of July. Now it's 9 o'clock in the evening, Moscow time. Sorry dear friends, I'm checking programs simultaneously to make sure everything is working. And of course this is community chat. Yes, it's working. I'm online. And yes, this is community chat, traditional Wednesday live stream. And well, once again, thank you all for your attention, and many thanks to all the members of our community who will join later on or will watch this live stream in recording later today. And well, that's been said, let's start our informal talk. And dear friends, let me give you right now some news that according to latest reports, Russian troops achieve a further breakthrough in New York direction, which is here. This morning I reported about Russian progress in this area, but just about 15-20 minutes ago I see reporting on one of the big channels about additional Russian progress, and of course all the details I will try to find out more information on that, and I will share additional information in tomorrow's first update. I'm gonna make headline like Russian breakthrough in New York. And people that are not familiar with the situation, people that may see headline by chance, they might get surprised, what Russians are doing in New York. And many will think this is a kind of clickbait when it's not. It's a real stuff. That is New York town in Donbas. And as always, dear friends, before I start, let me thank Gary and Terry for their donations on PayPal, and also Davis for a donation on a Boosty. I had this free donations since last live stream, so thank you very much for support to Gary, Terry, and Davis. I'm not saying full names, by the way, because when it's some nickname, I can say it because it's a nickname, but if I think this is a real name, then I will just say first name. I guess that's right way. So yes, I had no questions on any of the platforms on PayPal, Boosty, or Patreon, and therefore I will start Q&A part straight away with the questions in the chat. And when it comes to Telegram report part of today's update, as always, when I start work, this is my first post every day. Greetings to community, hello to everyone, and then I share this information that Boeing deliveries dropped 27% in June on year-on-year terms, according to Reuters, which is not at all surprising, obviously, because Boeing is in hot waters for all the wrong reasons, and I'm not even sure that this company will manage to recover from all the problems that they are facing due to poor management. Basically, it's their own fault. It's no one else's fault. It's a poor management of the leadership of the company, obviously. And dear friends, I see questions from Yaroslav Pelicek, member of our community, active member of our community, and if I may, I will go through his questions, and then, as always, by the way, I will monitor actively chat, and we can have exchange of opinions in real time. Simultaneously, I will share with you some additional news from today. So first question from Yaroslav is that greetings, I would like to ask which part of Russian armed forces is the best. Spetsnaz, Red Berets, VDV, Blue Berets, or Marine Black Berets. Is there any kind of military who is the best between them? I'm confused there. And additional question, how to put question on Patreon? Okay, I'll give you answer on that also. But first, when it comes to Russian special forces, Red Berets, we call it a Krapovy Beret. It's not armed forces, it's a Rosguardia. It's a Ministry of Internal Affairs. That's it was part of Ministry of Internal Affairs, internal forces, very capable troops, but main task for Red Berets, Krapovy Beret, is not really participation in large-scale military operations, although they are very much capable of that. So that's a little bit different special force. It's more about crowd control. It's more about dealing with some internal risks and their issues. When it comes to VDV, airborne troops, they have a blue berets, yes, and when it comes to Marines, they have a black berets. They also have different tasks and purposes. Both units, both groups are very capable, although they have different tasks really. Marines, of course, are first of all, prepared to conduct some amphibious operations, also some sabotage operations, why not, protection of the vessels, navy vessels, navy bases, that kind of stuff. And when it comes to airborne troops, they are probably more versatile because they can operate in anywhere, anytime. So if you ask me, I think due to specifics, blue berets are more versatile. Probably they can operate in much wider range of circumstances. Although black berets, Russian Marines are also, of course, extremely capable troops. I cannot say which one is more capable because you have to be, I don't know, a military expert, I guess, to have that specific knowledge. But because they have different tasks and purposes, they are very capable in their field of expertise, let's say this way. When it comes to this technical question, how to put question on Patreon, you can send me direct message through on the platform, private message, and send questions there. You can write questions in the community chat on Patreon. There is community chat also, or you can write question under the latest video that I have on Patreon right now. Latest video is about Ardinsky Tupik video, and I checked about like 40 minutes ago, and there was no questions there. So you can basically write your question just about anywhere on the Patreon. I'm always checking, and it's highly unlikely that I will miss it. That's when it comes to Patreon. Also, Yaroslav is asking, I find the book Lady Death, Their Memories of the Stalin Sniper by Martin Pegler. Is not it discussed US propaganda? It should not be, but rather ask. Thanks for answer. Well, I did not read the book of Martin Pegler. I don't know what he is writing about, but I guess you are talking about most famous Soviet sniper, female sniper of the Second World War. She had her, I forget her name. She had some more than 300 kills. Then she went at some point to US, even went to White House, and she was advocating for opening of the second front. If I remember correctly. So Lyudmila Pavlichenko, right? That's I guess female about whom this book is written, because she had this nickname, Woman of Death. But yet again, because I did not read the book, I just don't have opinion on that matter. But she was a deadliest sniper, female sniper in Russian, in Red Army, by the way, in Soviet Red Army. So sorry, but if I have not read the book, then how can I have opinion on that? If you will specify what exactly was, I mean, in general, what was said about her, if it's about her, by the way, maybe it's about something else, I don't know. But when I see your comment, it comes to my mind straight away that probably Lady of Death is a Russian sniper, female that I just spoke about. Also, Yaroslav is asking, I know channel window to Moscow. Is there a window to St. Petersburg or channels about other Russian cities? Sure they are. Sure they are. I may not be familiar with those channels, but recently I was looking for information about cities in Moscow region, closer to Moscow that Dmitrov is, because we are considering to move close to Moscow. And I find quite a number of channels, by the way, about cities in Moscow region, and I guess very similar is happening about other towns. Although I'm not quite sure how many of those channels have subtitles in English, or if there is channels in English right away. I don't know, but should be, especially about Moscow and St. Petersburg or Kazan or Ekaterinburg, Russian big cities that are very popular, including among tourists, Kaliningrad and so on, Rostov. So I hope my answers were informative enough. If I may, I will go through some Telegram reports now, and Biden, by the way, was not in his best form during his combined press conference with our statement with the outgoing Secretary General of NATO, Stoltenberg, and he was saying some creepy stuff, by the way, there. If you have not watched it, I mean, I have on my Telegram that short episode of the video. Of course, NATO summit that is taking place in US is a headline maker here in Russia, and right now, by the way, we can check, for example, Russian media outlets. I always have open number of Russian media outlets. For example, RIA Novosti. I'm quite sure there will be several news about NATO summit. This one, for example, Ukraine won't get NATO invite. Norwegian Prime Minister, I guess this was stated in Washington. Also, Orban asks Erdogan to support his Ukraine peace initiative. I guess both had a conversation on the sidelines of the NATO summit. Let's go on RIA Novosti, by the way. I guess there will be at least one or two news from NATO summit here also. Oh, and breaking news for this moment, by the way, Ukrainian media is reporting about explosions in the Kherson region this evening. Most likely, Russian armed forces conducted additional missile and drone strikes on the points of concentration of Kyiv regime forces. Excuse me. So, on RIA Novosti, first news is that the US plans to deploy into Germany hypersonic weapons. This will happen in 2026, as far as I understand. I believe I posted about it on Telegram today. I will share details in tomorrow's first update. Also, Ukraine may start using F-16, US-made F-16 fighter jets this summer, according to Blinken. Of course, this report is also from sidelines. affiliated with this NATO summit. For example, Foreign Minister of Armenia was presented in NATO summit. Unsurprisingly, because I said many times that Pashinyan's government is asset of the CIA, Pashinyan himself also, and they will do whatever it takes to destroy relationships between Armenia and Russia, and they are right on that path. Here also, TASS News Agency also is reporting about plans of Pentagon to deploy its weapons of long-range weapon systems into Germany for 2026. Of course, no one will ask Germany about it because Germany is occupied country, occupied by US and UK. So yes, I mean, NATO summit makes headlines, but these headlines are not really about something of immense importance. It's just, quite expected, ordinary, let's say, stuff or provocations from the Western ruling class. That's why I said, by the way, it's a clown show. In this today's first update, it's a really clown show. When these leaders of the NATO member states, with very few exceptions, are gathering and are making fun of themselves. Today, there was also interesting information that there was a first launch of new European Ariane 6 rocket from French Cosmodrome in New French Guyana. This missile, this space rocket, should be used by European space program instead of Ariane 5, French-made heavy rocket or European heavy rocket. Nowadays, everything called European. I don't know why. If it's French-made, it's a French. I don't know. But it's good developments, by the way, because this is for scientific purposes. So whenever some good is happening in terms of science developments, I will say it's good. Then I shared a video from Duran about recent Modi's visit in Russia. Also, interesting report from Taiwan that, according to Taipei's claims, 36 Chinese military aircraft approached Taiwan. This happens quite often, really, when Chinese Navy or Chinese Air Force approaches Taiwan. They are conducting some military exercises there and leaving. Okay, let's go through some questions also, if there is any. I see Yaroslav Pelichek's question. Do you have any favorite non-Russian singer or band? Maya Seekers and Czech band Daniela Landa. I love song Anika, Malinova. People, feel free to write your favorite singers into the chat. Yes, why not? When it comes to favorite bands, non-Russian favorite bands, I may have favorite songs, not necessarily bands. But I'm kind of всеядный. I listen to different type of music. I listen in Russian, in Georgian, in English. I listen in Spanish, by the way. And there are bands in Spanish, in Spain, by the way, that are songs of whom I really like very much. At least several songs. Gente de Zona, for example. It's guys from Cuba. Guys with roots in Cuba. They are not from Cuba right now, they left sometime in the future, in the past. They are related with the Cuba and the zona. They had several good songs, very nice songs. So I listen Spanish music also, sometimes even French music, although there is only few words that I can understand in Spanish or in French. But when melody is nice, when work of artists is clearly good, then you can appreciate it, isn't it? Even if you don't really understand what they are saying in the song. So yes, I mean, I don't really have favorite bands, but I listen to music quite a lot, and I like music, by the way. It's usually how do I chill, once a week or once in 2 weeks. I may take like a couple of beers. I may have a few pints of beer and listen to some music, and that's how I relax. So I love music. It's a good way to have a rest, just to listen to some nice music. So that's my answer. Let's go through chat. Questions. Dear friends, if you have a question, please write capital Q before the question, or entire question in capital letters. Once again, hello everyone, and thank you very much for participating. Ruth Greening is here. Hello, Ruth. She is commenting, I watched Shaman, Russian singer, getting patriotic on Telegram. There is apparently in the West, Russia is not apathetic. Shaman is very popular, by the way, here in Russia, and I guess outside of Russia also, because Russian speakers are everywhere, isn't it? In Australia, there are a big Russian diaspora, and I guess many descendants of the early Russian immigrants from the beginning of the 20th century, or Russian immigrants from Russia or Soviet Union of the late 90s of the 20th century or 80s. They have to maintain some connection with Russia, and they are listening to Russian music, maybe to know what is going on in Russia, to stay in touch. And I guess Shaman is popular not just among descendants of the immigrants in Australia, but all around the world. And the same goes for many other authors, by the way, many other singers. Dan Mattia is commenting, do not you think Russia should take Odessa as they need a land bridge for Transnistria? Thank you for your question, Dan. I not just think that Russia should take Odessa, but I'm quite sure that Odessa will be liberated from neo-Nazis and the fascists. I'm 100% sure about it. Just give it time. Odessa is a Russian city, Russian Jewish city. Always was and always will be. And therefore, I have no doubts that Odessa will be liberated. And I believe vast majority of my fellow citizens will share same sentiment on this regard. Odessa will be liberated. Just give it time. That's why I was saying, by the way, that recent peace offer from Russian president to Western ruling class and their puppets in Kiev was extremely generous. When Russian president said, you know what, if you pull out troops from these 4 regions, if you recognize Russian jurisdiction over the new Russian regions, Kherson, Zaporozhye, LPR, DPR, and also, of course, Sevastopol and the Crimean Peninsula in general, then Russian side will stop hostilities immediately, and will, withdrawal of Kiev regime's forces will be a good enough starting point for meaningful negotiations. And I said straight away, this is immensely generous offer from Russian president, for which he was criticized here in Russia, by the way. And he knew that he would be criticized, because if Kiev regime or Western ruling class took that offer, then that would mean that Kharkov region, the Dnipropetrovsk region, and Odessa region are staying under Kiev regime's control. And people wouldn't be happy about it, obviously. But if that's what takes, I mean, that's why you have a leadership, isn't it? Political leadership. They know better. They have more information, obviously. And I mean, Putin's approval rating is somewhere around 70-80%. So if he said that that's the offer, if Western ruling class would take that offer, then Putin will not roll back from that, and peace would be achieved. Even though Putin himself would be criticized in that case, because, as I said, Kharkov, Dnipropetrovsk, and Odessa would stay under control of Kiev regime. But that offer was rejected by Western ruling class, and I guess that was somewhat relief for many people in Russia, and there are many supporters of Russia worldwide. Even though everybody wants this conflict to end, also vast majority of Russians and supporters of Russia, they want to see Kharkov region, Dnipropetrovsk region, and Odessa region to be liberated, because it's a Russian territory, by the way. It's a historically Russian land, and people there are Russians. They speak Russian, they think Russian, they are Russians. It's in some central parts of Kiev controlled territory and western Ukraine that is sick with this neo-Nazi ideology, by the way. Rest of the territory that Kiev regime controls now, I mean, they are part of Russian world, always were, and I'm quite sure vast majority of population they are just cannot wait enough, when Russian troops will come and liberate them. Although right now, because they are under oppression of their Kiev, they cannot say it openly, obviously, because there would be consequences for that. We see so many videos, isn't it, when people are harassed, including in Odessa, if they are listening to Russian music, if they are using Russian language, and people are terrorized, basically, because they know if they say something, then these provocateurs will send SBU and other terrorists of the Kiev regime to take out these ordinary people, by the way, that are, listening to Russian music because they are Russian, speaking in Russian language because they are Russian. Ukraine is a fascist state, by the way. I'm not exaggerating anything here. Modern Ukraine is a fascist state and should be neutralized, and Russia will neutralize that nonsense. Trust me, that's how it's gonna be. So just mark my word, Odessa will be liberated, as it should. Dnipropetrovsk region also, and also Kharkov region. It's just a matter of time, by the way. And me personally, even though I'm for ending of this conflict, I'm also somewhat relieved that Western ruling class rejected this extremely generous offer from Russian president, peace offer, because now it is obvious that, next Russian proposal will be very different, and Odessa will be included in the territories from which Kiev regime has to withdraw its troops, 100%. And of course, Russia needs land bridge towards Transnistria. And not just Transnistria, but when Moldova will undergo full-scale disintegration, which is also inevitable, and I spoke about this topic many times in my updates, it will be not just Transnistria, but Gagauzia, most likely, by the way. I will give it 99% that Gagauzia will declare independence from Chisinau and some other areas also. And those regions and the rest of the Moldova will join Romania eventually. That's how we see fate of Moldova, and it's not just Transnistria that needs to have a land bridge with Russia, but also, of course, Gagauzia and other parts of modern Moldova that will join them in their pursuit of freedom and happiness with Russia. Thank you for your question. Al Peterson is here. Hello, Al. Greetings again, Luan. thank you very much for your attention and support. Dear friends, I remind you, if I may, that you can support channel with a donation and same time ask question or send some commentary that you want to be highlighted during the live stream. You can do it through PayPal, Boosty, or donation alerts. Although donation alert, this platform only working during the live streams, by the way. This is donations from previous live stream. And well, this is Boosty, no messages there. So let's continue. Question Terry is asking, about 10 years ago I heard a lot about the Russian government being concerned about population decline and trying to encourage citizens to get married and have children. Is it true? Yes, it is, by the way. Here in Russia there is quite a number of programs, social programs in support of new families, in support of families that have kids. Many programs, and the government clearly is encouraging more families to be created and these families to have more children. So yes, topic of population is very active, and the government really does quite significant work in this direction to promote not just creation of the families, but big families with more and more kids. And the state is right next to you. If you have a big family, you are, you are receiving state support. And by the way, entire society here in Russia is okay with that. Absolutely, you're not gonna hear anybody complaining about it, that families with 3, 4, 5 kids are receiving significant support from the state. They should. And if you ask me, I will say, help him more. Help them more. That's my take on the situation. I'm paying my taxes, and I'm more than happy to know that my taxes are going in this for this good cause. So yes, Russian government has very good policies in this regards, and also, by the way, it's so many programs. If you can take a mortgage, for example, there are mortgage programs for families. When you are paying not ordinary mortgage. If I want to take mortgage right now, by the way, I would pay like quite big number as interest rate, right, to the bank. But if you are taking mortgage, I'm our rich family, right? It's me, my wife, and we have 2 kids. We are average family. If I had 3 kids, if I had little baby now, then we would be eligible to take this mortgage when we would pay only like 6% or something in interest rates, and the rest of it will be paid by state. And by the way, right now interest rate of the central bank is 16%. So can you imagine difference? And the interest rate may even rise towards the end of this month. Maybe there are talks about it, that central bank will further increase interest rates to cool down economy a little bit, at least, because Russian economy is overheating. So yes, you have true information. Government does quite a lot to encourage younger families to have kids, to encourage younger people to get married and create families, and it's all good, by the way. Maybe more should be done. Some may argue that even more needs to be done, and probably that's the case. But government clearly is working on this direction, and it's good. But it's good. If you ask me, I will. If it was up to me, really, I will recommend Russian government to work not just in this direction, but also to create immigration laws in a way. Right now, we know that there is a big number of citizens, for example, in the Western states, right? In the collective West. Many people are very much not happy with this rising indoctrination of their younger generations in the Western states with some crazy, nonsensical ideologies, right? And many families are not happy with that. Many people are not happy, and they are looking for places to immigrate, places that are somewhat similar in terms of traditions, culture, and so on, where they will fit relatively easily, where they will integrate relatively easily. And Russia is clearly one of the destinations that these thousands and tens of thousands and probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people can consider as a place where they can immigrate, right? And if you ask me, because Russia is, after all, biggest country in this world, we need more people. We need not just more people, we need tens of millions of more people, right? And I will definitely not lose this opportunity to, invite all the people from the collective West that are not happy with this crazy Western propaganda and nonsense. I would be, I will happily invite them to live in Russia, and I will I will make it easier in terms of legal steps that needs to be taken. And I believe millions of people will immigrate in Russia. And we are talking about, by the way, hardworking, traditional, family-loving, law-obeying citizens. And every country would be happy or should be happy to receive these people, including Russia. There is so much opportunity there, right? Those people will benefit because they will live in a country where normality is welcomed, and they are looking for such a place. It will benefit entire society, obviously, because these people will bring their own expertise, their knowledge, investments, traditions, and Russia will get even stronger and richer in terms of tradition and culture. And it will benefit country also. Obviously, it will make country stronger. So that's the one direction, for example, that I will also look at if it was up to me. But of course, I'm not in Russian government. I don't know what they're gonna do, But you clearly can see wave, by the way. Even though immigration in Russia is not easy task, and there are several channels of the immigrants from Canada, from Australia. They immigrated in Russia, and they are building up their life here in Russia, and they are, they have YouTube channels, and they are sharing experiences. And I watched quite a number of times those videos. It is interesting. It's not easy right now to immigrate in Russia, but it's possible. Those people done it, and they are happy. But it's yet again because of the bureaucracy. It's right now it's not easy, and I will make it easier if it was up to me. And I believe millions of people will immigrate in Russia, which is, as I said, will benefit everybody. Moonlight Shadow is asking, is the Black Sea safe to swim, and would you go in it? Of course, dear friend. Of course, Black Sea is safe to swim. What you mean? If you're talking about some mines, sea mines that Kiev regime dropped in the sea, and because of the storms, those mines are scattered now all over the Black Sea. Yes, there is the danger of that, but that danger is more for shipping, for navigation. But when it comes to coastal line of the Black Sea, from Turkish Black Sea to Bulgaria's Black Sea to then all around the Black Sea, by the way. I don't know about Ukrainian coastline, formerly Ukrainian, soon to be Russian, but right now Russian coastline is also absolutely safe. You can and also Georgia's Black Sea coast, it's safe. It's very popular destination, by the way, for tourists. Black Sea resorts. Here in Russia and in Georgia, for example, in Bulgaria during the Soviet era had their very popular Black Sea resorts, Golden Sands or something like that was the name. Zolotoye Piski, right? So yes, it is safe. Unfortunately, Kiev regime and the Pentagon and there are other NATO countries that are conducting this proxy war against Russia. They are targeting some coastal areas time to time. Recently, Sevastopol was targeted. We all know about it. Beach area. and 4 people were killed, and there are more than 100 wounded as a result of that strike. But it did not happen on daily basis. So even in Crimea, by the way, right now there is tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of tourists from rest of the Russia. It's not easy to scare Russians, by the way, if it's even possible. So people are going to Crimea to have a rest and to support local economy. So yes, it's absolutely swimmable. Black Sea, it's okay water. And if you think water is dirty or too dirty, it's just like everywhere, I guess. It's no any different than Mediterranean, for example. Maybe a little cleaner even, because navigation in the Mediterranean is of course much intense than in the Black Sea, for example. So Nidish Kumar is asking, does Belarus expecting attack from Ukraine? They are conducting 11 days war drills suddenly. Yes, thank you for your question, Nidish. Belarus, in last several days, Belarus leadership, last several weeks, I will say, Belarus leadership articulated several times that Kyiv regime is concentrating significant number of troops on the borderline with Belarus, and some provocations are expected. Well, if intelligence of Belarus, if militaries of Belarus are expecting some provocations, there must be some reasoning for that. Although I'm not quite sure that the Western ruling class is that crazy that they will order Kyiv regime to start now military operations with Belarus. I don't think so, but anything is possible. It's all depends on decision-making process in Washington and London. If they want her to engulf borderlines of the Belarus, borderline regions of the Belarus to this conflict also, they will order such provocations to Kyiv regime, and in that case Belarus will react, and Belarus will get involved in this conflict big time, and they will smash whatever concentration of forces Kyiv regime has on the borderline area. And they will smash them without mercy, by the way. I'm telling you that. Belarus was staying out of conflict, and if they are attacked, Belarusians definitely not gonna like that. And they will revenge. They will smash without mercy those formations of the Kyiv regime on the borderline. Now, they may not even be able to run away. That's what Belarusian troops gonna do to them. Because once again, Belarusians were staying out of this conflict. But if they are attacked, they're gonna see it as a treason, as we see, by the way. We see actions of the Kyiv regime and their citizens of the Ukraine that are participating in this proxy war against Russia as a treason. I see personally them as traitors. They are assets of the Western ruling class. They are traitors, literally traitors. So they are, regularly we are receiving, and that's why I'm saying, by the way, this conflict, even though it's a proxy war against Russia, provoked by this Western ruling class, this conflict definitely has elements of the civil war. Definitely, and President of Russian Federation also spoke about it, isn't it? And many other high-ranking officials, because it's just too obvious. This is clearly conflict with the elements of the civil war. So yes, Belarus is expecting some provocations on the borderline from Kyiv regime. Expectation is there. Let's see what decision-making process will take place in Washington and London, what they will order to Zelensky's regime. Also, Dave H. is asking, what do you make of MBS threat to Europe not to steal Russian assets? Nicer timing with the NATO meeting, and Wondorf re-elected as dictator of the Europe. When it comes to statements, it was in Bloomberg, right? This information that Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, or Riyadh, basically, we don't know who exactly, but Riyadh, leadership of Saudi Arabia, issued some warnings to the G7 countries not to steal Russian assets, otherwise they will start sell off of the European bonds, the European assets that they have. They were very focused on France. I guess Saudi Arabia has significant investments in the French assets. And for now, it seems like European states are backtracking earlier statements that they're definitely gonna steal those assets, but damage is already done. I spoke about this topic in today's first update, isn't it? Damage already been done on the financial and banking system of the Western ruling class. Everybody understands this system is weaponized and cannot be trusted. And these warnings from Saudi Arabia, these warnings probably are preparations of the ground and preparations of the ground to basically withdraw investments from Europe. That's what is happening, I guess, because West already is stealing Russian assets, right? They froze about 300 billion, and they are frozen, and they are going to steal profits from these assets. So what is the point for Saudi Arabia, for example, to keep investments in Europe, in the Western financial and banking system, in Western economy, if their assets can be frozen anytime, and then if they would not be able to benefit from investments, if they would not be able to receive profits from those assets. What is the point to invest in Western economy for Chinese companies, for Indian companies, for anybody really, even for European states? I mean, Hungary may get smashed very same way that Russia. Hungary's investments in other European states can be frozen, and Hungary may lose it, right? So no one is safe. No one is safe, and I guess Riyadh just with this information I read as a warning of the area that they are going to withdraw investments from Europe. It's not necessarily about not stealing Russian assets, because those assets already are stolen, right? Russia is not benefiting from its investments in European economy. So these benefits already been stolen. And that's why I said when I was commenting today in the first update, when I was commenting statements of statements of Chancellor of UK, when she was saying that UK lost some 50-something billion pounds just as tax revenues because of the crazy policies of the previous government, I said that UK lost not just this money, but UK lost much more, most likely because of the outflow of the investments, foreign investments from the country, and because UK no longer receiving level of investments that it used to. So overall, losses of the UK is not just 50 billion, but I guess 150 billion or more. I'm not financier, but I guess the UK is losing very big time, because UK was one of the major destinations where these funds were invested by many other countries in many sectors, real estate or whatever. And other European states are, I guess, in very quite similar place, although, of course, Czech Republic, for example, is losing significantly less than UK, because Czech Republic is not as popular as a investment place as UK. Although, of course, Czech Republic is also losing. It's a wonderful country, by the way, and some may argue that Prague, city capital of Czech Republic, is one of the most beautiful cities in this world, and I will agree with that. From what I see on videos, on pictures, I will argue that yes, Prague is one of the most beautiful cities in this world. But still, I mean, the level of economies are very different. I mean, UK and Czech Republic. So obviously, UK is losing much more. Germany is losing much more. France is losing much more. Although everybody is losing there because of these crazy policies of the Western ruling class when they weaponized financial and the banking system, and nobody now in this world has any guarantees that their investments are safe or their assets in the jurisdiction of the Washington, London, or Brussels. That's how it is. So this is once again an additional point. I think this information from Bloomberg give us additional indicator why it is so important for BRICS and other non-dependent on the Western ruling class organizations to come up swiftly with their alternative financial and the banking system, so that world will have relief, because right now everybody is hostage of the Western ruling class. Everybody that has any interests in or investments in a jurisdiction of Washington, London, and Frankfurt. European Central Bank is in Frankfurt, isn't it? In Germany. So that's my answer. That's my understanding of the situation. But damage was already done. I mean, there is no reverse there. There's no way Western ruling class will ever manage to repair a reputation of the financial and the banking system of the West. I mean, it's just not possible, really. Moonlight. I lost question. Oh, I find it. Moonlight Shadow is asking, no, don't their mines. Pollution, Google says it's bad. I don't know about Google, but I don't think Black Sea is any more polluted than Mediterranean, by the way. I mean, I really don't. No. Maybe, I don't know, this is some sort of, I never think about it, but maybe this is some sort of propaganda to divert potential tourists from their Black Sea resorts, because I mean, sea navigation, for example, and we all know that these big ships, the big vessels, they are one of the reasons of pollution of the sea. When they drop God knows what into the water. I mean, navigation is like 100 times more intense in the Mediterranean, obviously, than in the Black Sea. And how come that Mediterranean is cleaner than Black Sea? It's just not logical, not sensical, right? No, Black Sea is okay, by the way, and Black Sea resorts are wonderful. It's just there is several areas where you have golden sand, but usually around the Black Sea there is stones on the beach, or dark black sand, magnetic sand, which is, some say, which is good for health. I don't know, I'm not expert in that, but some say this black sand, it has many minerals in it, including metals and stuff. So some say it's beneficial for health. I don't know nothing about it, but that's what rumors are. By the way, I know it because in Georgia, in Ajaria, for example, there is Ajaria coastline is stones mainly on the beach side. There is no sand there, only artificial beaches. But on Guria, for example, or Samegrelo, on the coastline in that regions of Georgia, western Georgia, there is a black sand. And in Guria, for example, Anaklia or Ureki, yes, there is in Ureki, for example, there is this. I know about it since I was child, by the way. That's when I first time went to there. I was taken by my mom to that area for summer, and since then I know that there is rumors that this black sand is somehow beneficial, but maybe, I don't know. But that's the only difference, I guess. I don't think waters of the Black Sea are any more polluted than Mediterranean. It's just not possible, really, in my opinion. Z12IT is here. Hello. Buongiorno. Am I saying right in Italy? In Italian? By the way, I don't see questions for now, so I will go through some. Nidish Kumar is commenting, a lot of countries dump toxic industrial waste in African coasts. Yes, that's unfortunate. But I guess quality control there is maybe in some countries at least, maybe not on the desirable level. And yes, I can see that some companies are, doing that kind of stuff. And not just on African coast, by the way. If you let big corporations, multinational corporations, to do whatever they want, they will. Because all they care is profits, isn't it? They don't care about safety of their sea or safety of land or anything or anybody. All they care is profits, these multinational corporations. Everywhere, let's go through some news also. And when I see a question, I will try to. Buonasera now. Beat. Yes, buongiorno is right. Thank you. I would like to learn some. I would like to learn the many languages, but And Italian, by the way, I was asked about bands, isn't it? I had listened to so many Italian songs, by the way. Celentano, world famous actor, one of the best actors of the 20th century, obviously from Italy, Adriano Celentano, and he's a singer also. He has great songs, by the way. Many of you are familiar, obviously, with his songs. Moonlight Shadow is commenting. I was asking because I saw people in the Black Sea on videos from Mariupol channel on YouTube. He shows how Russia is making Russia great again. What can I say? Moonlight Shadow. I don't see that video, but in general, Mariupol is rebuilding, by the way, big time. Mariupol is experiencing renaissance. There is big investments in a city to be rebuilt. So that's factual. There is so many videos on internet about these new buildings in Mariupol and about renovation. But when it comes to Black Sea itself, how polluted it is or not, there must be certain areas, by the way, when, as Nidish highlighted, there are certain companies, or maybe certain administrations in some cities that don't really pay attention to what is going to the sea. And some areas in the sea may be not desirable to go and swim in. But in general, I don't see how Black Sea can be more polluted than Mediterranean. And we have so many luxury resorts on Mediterranean, isn't it? Half of the French coast is a kind of luxury coastline, isn't it? Monaco and that kind of stuff. And how come that Mediterraneans are cleaner than Black Sea waters? It's nonsensical, man. Jim Passato Sarotri is commenting, Seine River in France is disgusting. Well, in Seine in Paris, there should be swimming competitions, isn't it? During the so-called Olympic Games. And there were reports that probably these competitions that's supposed to take place on the Seine will not be conducted, or if they will take place in some other area, because the river is dirty. as you just highlighted, and not safe to swim, and we all remember it was Macron, isn't it, or who that was saying that he will swim in a river before Olympics or something like that. Let them swim now and see if it's okay or not. So Ruth is commenting, can you put capital Q? I guess I missed a question from Max Zhuchov. Dear friend, if you will put capital Q or capital letters, if your comment is in capital letters, I will see it easier. Trust me, dear friends, I don't miss any question intentionally. I'm just monitoring chat. If I see it, I see it. If not, then and let me check also. I have a message on Al Peterson, thank you very much for your support on Boosty. No questions, just thanks for your always bringing us to the news, Levan. Thank you very much, Al, for your support and attention. I appreciate it. Thank you. And let me go to my channel here. And let's continue. Mina Popova has a question. Please show us some Lizginka. Well, sorry, but I'm not really big on dance. You may not believe I'm from Caucasus region, by the way, but I don't know this traditional dance of the region. Lizginka is one of the traditional dances, obviously, and I just don't know. I'm from Tbilisi, by the way, and in Tbilisi, if you are not going to dance groups, then you just don't know. That's it. This traditional dance. And in Georgia, by the way, there is several dances that I really like. Music and dance itself. Adjarsky, my favorite dance is Adjarsky in Georgia, Adjarian dance. It's a wonderful music and wonderful dance. And also I love Ossetian dance, also wonderful music and the dance. Maybe many members of our community are familiar. If not, check that out, by the way. Adjarian dance and Ossetian dance. Wonderful stuff. And of course there is many more other music or dance in the Caucasus region that is wonderful. Obviously, I just mentioned what my favorites are. Question from Jampasa Rotary. Did Modi meet at Putin's dacha? What is the West response? Yes, they did. First day, Modi came to Russia for a 2-day trip, and first day was a meeting between Modi and Putin in a casual style. And Modi went to Novogorova presidential residency, and they had a good conversation there. The second day was official part of their trip. Well, Western ruling class, they did not like it, obviously. Western media tried to downgrade or entirely ignore, by the way, this visit. There was some criticism of Modi also that, biggest democracy in the world is cooperating with Russia. And as we all know, Western ruling class, Western propaganda outlets trying to demonize Russia on daily basis. But Modi did not give a crap about that stuff, by the way. Russia and India are strategic partners forever. Both countries have decades and decades of experience in diplomacy and great relationships, by the way. There is always some difficulties in relationships between their closest partners, right? And There are some issues that needs to be resolved between India and Russia also, which is just a business. It's ordinary business, nothing extraordinary. Main point for me personally is that Moscow and New Delhi, they are on the same page when it comes to strategic partnership. Both countries, leadership, political class of the both countries are realizing that maintenance of this high level of cooperation in every possible way, not just finances and economy, but also on political, geopolitical scale, and also on military scale and security. It's immensely important for both. Immensely important. I mean, you cannot exaggerate, in my opinion, how important it is for two countries to maintain this good, friendly, brotherly bilateral relations. And I'm happy that both countries are on the same page on that. And when it comes to business between the two, business is good. Business is good. It was said that hopefully before 2030, trade between the countries will reach 100 billion. I hope for more. I hope this number will be much more, but give it time, give it time. There are some topics that need to be resolved in terms of economical relationships and finances, but it's just the business. It's just the business. For me personally, it is a main point that both capitals are on the same page when it comes to understanding of how important it is to maintain this strategic level of cooperation. And that's the main stuff for me personally. And I expect relationships to improve furthermore. There will be 2 more consulates of India, by the way, in Russia, in Kazan and Yekaterinburg, which means more Indian tourists to Russia, more Russian tourists to India. So that will benefit some tourist industries of the two countries also. Exchange of students, by the way, and both countries can learn from each other a lot, quite a lot. And the cooperation is going to be immensely beneficial. I mean, if you ask me, India is number 1 strategic partner for Russia. Because, I mean, Belarus, obviously, but Belarus is, and we and Belarus, by the way, we are like one, right? Yes, there are 2 separate states, but we have confederation together, and we are one, right? Outside of former Soviet Union, let's say, I will say India is the number 1. Serbia, yes. I mean, Serbia is also kind of like we are one. I mean, that's also very strong bonds, by the way, between Russia and Serbia, obviously. And India is there. India is in that level, by the way, to me personally. That's how close we are, and that's how close I want us to be. If you ask me, some people may say, China is our biggest partner for Russia and stuff. And yes, China is an important partner, but in my personal ratings, India is different level. China is not on that level, by the way. China is a good business partner, let's say. That's all. India is much bigger than that, in my personal opinion. Ruth is commenting, Max Zhukov was asking how support for SMO gone up. Max heard it went from 60 to 80%. Well, SMO has a huge support of public, by the way, obviously. Russian president has support of, last time I see some reports on that, approval rating of Russian president was 81%, so something around that. So that means that approval of or support of special military operation is also at least on same level, right? Or even higher, because some people may don't approve presidential work. Maybe some people wants more to be done, but same time they still are in support of special military operation, obviously. So yes, number are high, by the way. And me personally, I don't know nobody. I literally don't know nobody who is not in support of Russian militaries. Literally, I don't know anybody in real life here in Russia that is not supporting Russian militaries, by the way. That's how it is. Thank you, Ruth, for helping me to communicate with Max. And Max, sorry that I missed your question. It's not intentional. Trust me. You know, when it's capital Q or capital letters like Nidish commented here, I mean, it's just easy to notice. That's why I'm asking about that. Nidish Kumar is commenting, problem with India is we don't have a good manufacturing base. We went from agricultural directly to service sector. Well, India is building up its manufacturing base. Just today, I reported about work of Rosatom, for example, on a new project for a nuclear power station for India, mega power station. And according to some reports, sites are working now to build the manufacturing capacities in India, so that India will be able to build nuclear power stations. So, I mean, we are talking about significant transfer of technology, isn't it? Because, I mean, nuclear power stations are probably most complicated stuff that are ever built on this planet, right? So, once India will get that level of manufacturing capacities, I mean, everything is open then, right? And I believe Russia is open to transfer whatever technologies are needed to India, maybe with the exception of few when it comes to nuclear weapons, because it's it's a specific topic, of course. But sides are cooperating in military terms. There is a huge cooperation. BrahMos, one of the best missiles, for example, in the world, are product of bilateral cooperation of their military-industrial complex of the two countries. I know Russia transferred their manufacturing technologies for manufacturing production of a number of Russian designed weapon systems that India is manufacturing for itself now, and maybe even for export. So India will get there, by the way. I believe in India. I really believe, give it like another 50 years, and India will become at least second economy in this world, maybe even first. That's how much I trust in India, by the way, and that's how much I want India to prevail. So, and this is not just wishes. I listen to lectures of some economists on topic of India, prospects of India, and I know there is fundamentals there on the ground to believe that for 2050 India will become maybe third economy in this world in all spectacles, and for 2070 India will be on the level of China, maybe even overtake China. So, and one should keep in mind, by the way, that India is moving not just in the service sector, but India is a country where investments going in high-tech production. India has one of the best schools in the world, right? Educational system. And there is a top level of engineers in India, and there is a big investments, the big flow of investments, and these investments will only increase as time goes by in high-tech production. So just give it a couple of decades, by the way, India will be a leading country also when it comes to high-tech. So everything is gonna be okay, everything's gonna be okay. So speaking true, Levan, it is 3 a.m. sleeping time here. You can't reach your East Asia viewers live. I mean, I need to come up with I was told several times by members of our community to, investigate which time is optimal, so that our community from all around the world will find it more feasible to tune in during the live streams. I just don't know which time is correct, by the way, for that. I really don't. I tried 6 o'clock, 6 in the evening. It did not really work. I tried 7, it did not really work. Try 8, did not really work. That's why I'm doing live streams at 9 o'clock now. Although sometimes, as you can understand, I'm getting a little tired because all day has passed, and now at 9 o'clock I have to start a live stream and be concentrated on some news topics and be able to communicate in an informative way with the community for another hour, maybe hour and a half. For me it will be easier to make live stream 6 o'clock, but I'm not sure it will work. It will be convenient for majority of the community. So I don't know what to do, really. That's my answer. I just don't know which time is convenient. And please, dear friends, maybe you will translate your time to Russian time and give me approximate time when it will be more convenient for a majority, and I will do live streams then. Why not? I mean, now, and dear friends, I want to share with you this information also. It's almost an hour and 20 minutes. We had a good chat, isn't it? I almost didn't speak about news, by the way. That's why I love these live streams. It's a great opportunity to communicate and in real time. And oh, thank you, Michael. Levan is the place to be for a live chat. And dear friends, I want to share with you this information that FSB, Russian FSB security service, thwarted the Ukrainian sabotage attempt to conduct terrorist attack on Admiral Kuznetsov, by the way, Russian-only aircraft carrier. The first contact was made in March 2024 between a young Russian serviceman working on Admiral Kuznetsov and the Ukrainian intelligence operatives offering a huge bribe for him to detonate a device on the ship. Well, this is the second time in last several days when we are hearing that Russian intelligence services thwarted these attempts from Kiev regime to conduct large-scale sabotage, terrorist attacks, and so on. There was a report a few days ago that Kiev regime was trying to hijack Russian strategic bomber Tu-22M3. Now information about aircraft carrier. And also today, by the way, there was reports that FSB arrested the asset of the Kiev regime's intelligence, who was directed by main intelligence directorate of the Ukraine's defense ministry to target with their explosives 3 high-ranking Russian military officials. So Kiev regime is in full on this terrorist activity under authorization and direction of the CIA, obviously, and MI6, because without their authorization, I don't think Kiev regime will ever dare to conduct terrorist attacks on Russian soil, but that's what they do. And Russian intelligence services are doing their best to protect Russia's interests, Russian society, and Russian assets. Then I shared, by the way, video, today's update from New Atlas. We all are familiar, of course, with New Atlas, Brian Broletic, greater personality, greater host of this show. One of the biggest names, by the way, in independent media. I think Duran's Alex Christoforou and Alexandru Mercuris, they are on top of the game right now, and obviously Brian Burletic from New Atlas is also there. They are leaders of this independent media segment in news and political commentary. At least that's how I see these people. And dear friends, if by chance, if it's even possible, you are not familiar about these channels and people that I might talking about, you can see links to their channels under every my video, under every my news update. There is a recommendation list, and I have a dozen of channels there that I follow on regular basis. And yes, Duran and New Atlas, they definitely are leaders and example how to do good work to be maximum as useful for public, for community as possible. Then I share these photos, by the way, strange photos that was noticed by Russian citizens in different regions of different parts of the country. And when I see these photos, my reaction was straight away, some missile was launched. And yes, it was a trace from the Ariane 6, by the way, that was launched from French Guyana, this French space rocket. Also, interesting news, NATO countries at the Washington summit will announce their intention to provide Ukraine with at least 40 billion in euro in aid throughout 2025, according to White House. Let's see. I would not be surprised at all. Also, by the way, Nidish Kumar is commenting, Levan, don't stress too much. I think if you want to catch your East Asian viewers, make one of these live streams to 1 p.m. at your time. I think that will cover even New Zealand. 1 p.m. Oh, thank you, Nidish. 1 p.m. I will work on that. Why not? Why not? Let's see if it will work. Why not? That's the idea. Thank you. And news. And today there was also news that Israel urges Gaza city residents to evacuate. I guess some people go back to Gaza recently, and now Israel planning yet again bombing campaign on Gaza. And locals, whoever returned to the city, were urged to evacuate again. Then some videos about Russian strikes on points of concentration of the Kiev regime. Russian forces destroyed the 3 improved Hawk anti-aircraft missile launchers in Ukraine, as well as targeted storage facilities for Ukrainian unmanned boats, according to Russian Ministry of Defense. Also, Borrell, by the way, he was talking about today that he is so sorry that citizens of Ukraine are dying in this conflict. The casualty numbers are high on part of Kiev regime's forces, but same time he's not sorry really, because well, he don't. Just look at the what he said. This is quote, by the way. We certainly regret that people are dying, but Ukrainian soldiers are fighting and dying because they are defending their country. EU Foreign Policy Chief Joseph Borrell said on Wednesday during a speech at the 5th NATO Anniversary Summit, and he also continued that NATO will not stop providing weapons and money for Kiev regime, more people to be forcefully mobilized and basically sacrificed for geopolitical agenda of the West, because those people are not dying for Ukraine. Those people dying for geopolitical agenda of the West, because Russia was never threat to anything Ukrainian, with exception of Ukrainian Nazism. And everybody knows that. Ukrainians are part of Russian world. For Westerners, for Western so-called officials and Western ruling class, this may be something that they cannot wrap their mind around. but Ukrainians are part of our civilization, right? Unfortunately, some of them, many of them even, were indoctrinated with the false propaganda, with crazy narratives, and then being sacrificed also. But times will change. Times will change. Already, I believe, vast majority of Ukrainians know perfectly well that it's a Western ruling class and collective West. NATO basically is the main threat for Ukrainians and Ukraine, not Russia. Russia never was any threat for anything Ukrainian rather than Ukrainian Nazism. It's just how it is, you know. That's how it is. Then I shared the Defense Ministry's report about progress of special military operation during the previous 24 hours. Also, Norway intends to transfer F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine, as reported by Reuters, with reference to Prime Minister of the Scandinavian country, Jonas Gahr Store. So, Norway wants further escalation with Russia, and also probably Norway gets some deal with US. Probably they will transfer these F-16s and they will receive some other weapons from US for that, or something like that probably had happened. Also, by the way, Poland closes the passage of trucks through the Kozlovice checkpoint on the border with Belarus. About 600 vehicles accumulated there overnight. Okay. Also, Russian strikes on point of concentration of Kiev regime forces. Russian troops hit a secret warehouse in the port of Chernomorsk in Odessa region, where British mercenaries were located, and on the territory of which British missiles were stored. Sergei Lebedev, coordinator of the Nikolaev Underground, told RIA Novosti. So, by the way, warehouse was targeted. This was today, I believe, in the first half of the day, when I see reports about strikes in this direction, although strikes were yesterday also. And warehouse were targeted, were British mercenaries, to be more precise, British military personnel was located, although disguised as mercenaries, and also British long-range weapons. Russian partisans didn't specify what kind of missiles, but when it comes to long-range weapons from UK, it's usually Storm Shadows, isn't it? So maybe it was Storm Shadows. No specifications on that, but there is information that some British mercenaries were hit. And then there was emergency services vehicles that were moving towards Romania. Probably they were removing from Ukraine, killed and wounded these mercenaries. Or, to be more precise, operatives of secret services of the UK and UK's defense ministry. Stoltenberg was saying some stuff in US during that summit, and I did not even know what to comment on that. I just write a clown and a circus. Also, by the way, you might be surprised, but Apple has become the first company ever to reach 3.5 trillion market cap. I don't you know my take on this companies. I think their prices on of these companies are immensely inflated. I don't believe I don't think that chip maker company, what is the name? Nvidia, right? I don't think Nvidia worth some 3 trillion and more. I don't think Apple worth is about 3.5 trillion. I think this is inflated immensely, but that's the That's the current numbers, by the way. Nidish Kumar is commenting, does Levan, does Russia allow GMO food to be cultivated? No, GMO food is banned in Russia, and it cannot be used. That's what I know about it, and for quite a while, by the way, because whenever you use these GMO crops, by the way, those fields are finished forever. You cannot grow nothing on those fields then. That's how bad influence those GMO stuff has on the ground, and it's banned in Russia. So that's how, let me right now check that. So that's for example, by the way, news from 2021, this one, and in Russia from 4th of July of 2016 prohibited to cultivate GMO, anything GMO, by the way, or to bring in Russia any products with GMO in it, or crops, by the way, GMO crops. It's all banned here in Russia from 4th of July of 2016. It's banned to cultivate GMO whatever, potato or corn or anything really, wheat, and it's banned to bring in Russia GMO crops, or what you are putting in the ground, that stuff. So yes, it's my information was correct. It's banned here in Russia. And by the way, we had this news: Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping consider, and Xi Jinping, leaders of China and Russia, consider new Ukraine peace talks possible until the end of the year. This was reported by El País, citing Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban. Maybe, by the way, as I said, Russia had a very generous offer just recently. Russian president had a very generous offer on peace just recently. Western ruling class rejected her, and they didn't allow Kyiv regime to even speak about this topic. They blocked the topic straight away. And now, of course, situation on the ground is changing on a regular basis, and from now on, I believe there will be very different roadmap whenever peace talks will take place. And me personally, by the way, as I said in the beginning, I'm convinced that at least entire territories from Kharkov region to Odessa region will be liberated. At least, by the way. At least all of it from Kharkov region. Let me show you on the map, by the way. So I believe entire this area, by the way, from Kharkov to Dnipropetrovsk, then entire Zaporozhye, obviously, and also Odessa region, all of it will be liberated, at least. That's my take. Although, by the way, I guess Poltava region, Sumy region, Chernigov region also. Western ruling class will establish control over the western parts of Ukraine that eventually will be claimed by Poland, by Hungary, by Romania. That's my take on it. And the rest of the Ukraine will be controlled by Russia, and eventually in its entirety or partially will join Russian Federation, at least from Odessa to Kharkov, because this is these areas are built by Russians, by the way. These territories are Russia. Locals are Russians. everything about these areas is Russia, so they should be in Russia, right? These lands, by the way, many people don't know that Ukraine was created artificially by Bolsheviks, right? There was no such a kingdom or state or anything in past, in history. Never, right? There was an area, the Poles, by the way, were calling Ukraina. And Ukraina means borderline. And this name from Poles came to Russia, and Russians also start calling this area Ukraina, and that's how Ukraine came about. Ukraina, you know, you see similarities there. I didn't say, by the way, that this Ukraina is an ethnicity, some sort of ethnicity, Ukrainians or something. No, it's just a border line, you know, outskirts. If you say na окраине города, that means on outskirts of the city, you know. And because Poland was controlling certain areas of that Ukraina at some point, they call it Ukraina, and then Russians start calling it this areas Ukraina, and eventually Bolsheviks came in and they created Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic, and they create this artificial republic on Russian land, and they give it everything you see, with the exception of Western Ukraine, by the way, was given to Ukraine by Bolsheviks, you know. And then, by the way, after Bolsheviks, Stalin came in, and Stalin gave them Western Ukraine, which used to be part of Poland. 70% of Western Ukraine used to be part of Poland. Transcarpathia, by the way, Transcarpathia region used to be part of Czechoslovakia. But before Second World War, that was taken from them and given to Ukraine, but Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic. But before First World War, Transcarpathia was part of Hungary. And that's why I think Hungary will have a claim on Transcarpathia. And after all, there is a very bigger local population of Hungarians, ethnic Hungarians in Transcarpathia until now. Right? And of course, significant parts of Western Ukraine used to be part of Romania, and Romania will also have a claim on those areas at some point, I guess. And by the way, many don't know, but Moldova, current state, former Soviet Republic of Moldova, also used to be Romania before Second World War. So that's why I'm saying, well, Moldova undergo full-scale disintegration. Gagauzia, Transnistria, and some other parts of the modern Moldova will join Russia most likely, or will drift towards Russia, and the rest of the Moldova most likely will join Romania, and this republic will disappear from political map. Just give it to 3-5 years max, and that's what is going to happen. But anyways. This live stream is too long, and I have to finish it. Hopefully you find this talks interesting. By the way, Bobby LaForce is commenting. Levan, do you know that about 200,000 Serbs settled down in the region of Donbas? Oh, really? I guess that happened during their empire times, or something is happening right now and I missed it. How could I miss immigration of 200,000 Serbs now? Probably you are talking about times of Russian Empire, maybe. I'm gonna research this, but I did not knew it, dear friends. So thank you for giving me a reason to learn some more about history. I will try to learn about this for sure. Thank you. This Serbian exodus happened during the whole 18th century. Still today, there are toponyms of Serbian origin. Oh, then yes, I was intuitively correct. It happened during the Russian Empire. Thank you for clarification. Thank you, Bobby. LaForce, interesting, fascinating story. I will definitely try to learn some more on this subject. Thank you. Dear friends, let's check. This is a photo of Armenian foreign minister and US foreign minister or head of State Department during this NATO summit. Then I share the update from Alex Christoforou, today's update. He devoted significant time to summarize this first day and a half of the NATO summit, by the way. Many of you probably already watched it or will watch later on. Interesting as always, obviously. Then I share this information that US will begin deploying long-range weapons in Germany in 2026. Yes, I spoke about this topic earlier in this program. Then I shared their update, today's update from Alexander Mercouris, although I did not have the time to watch it. I will listen to this update later on today. And but I always, when I see updates from channels that I follow, of course, I share links on my Telegram channel. Then, by the way, this some memory from history. It's the 75th anniversary of NATO, right? And General Adolf Hausinger was the commander of the Wehrmacht High Command, Hitler's right-hand man, and also chairman of the NATO, by the way, from 1961 to 1964. That's a history of NATO, by the way. That's a history of NATO, and we all know that UK, US, Canada, by the way, they receive also Argentina, but Argentina is a little bit different story. But US, UK, and Canada was main three countries where these German Nazi war criminals were shipped in mass, and there's all sort of Nazis and mass murderers. After all, U.S. space program was run by Nazi criminal, isn't it? That was working on FAU missiles, if I remember correctly, and those FAU missiles were menace for UK during the World War, isn't it? Germany was bombing UK and killing civilians, thousands of civilians with these FAU-1, FAU-2 missiles, and that person who was responsible was taken by US then to work on US space, on US rocket programs and space. I forget her name. Let me check, by the way. Von Braun, yes. Werner von Braun, by the way. Werner von Braun was head of US this space program and rocket program, isn't it? So that's a history, by the way, that you cannot hide from, right? They used to be Nazis and they are still Nazis, by the way. Western ruling class in general. I remind you, dear friends, that British elites, for example, they were very happy with their German fascists. There are pictures, isn't it? I mean, I don't want to discuss that topic that much because that person is passed away now. But there are pictures on internet when a former queen of UK is zigging, isn't it? In a Nazi style. When she was very young. You know, during that uprising of the German Nazism and the fascism, right? And many representatives of the British elites were very much in this Nazi fascist ideology. And not just in UK, by the way, but all around Europe. After all, Italy was a fascist state, Spain was a fascist dictatorship, Portugal was a fascist dictatorship, and in the rest of the Western European countries, by the way, there were also Nazi sympathizers all over the elites, isn't it? That's their just story, history. That's a history, how it was. So, and the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer confirms that formally Ukraine, in reality NATO, this is my comment, in reality NATO, obviously, because they are operating with the British long-range weapon systems, or NATO or long-range weapon systems, can use British Storm Shadow missiles to strike military targets inside the Russia. So yes, there is no difference, by the way, between this Prime Minister and previous Prime Minister. No difference at all. They're all the same. And I guess that's it. Just a few more news, dear friends, and I will go through questions. I see questions, dear friends. American military bases, so U.S. military bases in Europe, rise alert level over threats of Russian sabotage. According to reports, Washington has heightened European bases threat level after receiving intelligence of potential Russian-backed saboteurs. CNN reports the intelligence suggested the U.S. bases and their personnel were possible targets by unnamed Russian proxies. Okay. If some pro-Russian or pro-humanity activists, by the way, will take some protest actions, I'm not calling for any aggressive actions, but if there will be some protests, some peaceful demonstrations or something of that kind, well, I welcome that. If there will be some sabotage activity that will not harm people, why not? As long as it's not harming people, I'm okay with it. But I mean, whoever is planning anything, they should make sure that people are not harmed. That should be main priority, really. And by the way, this is reported from CNN, so I don't really believe there is any pro-Russian proxies or any threat really to US bases. I just don't buy it. And by the way, also interesting news that since 2020, YouTube had already blocked more than 200 channels of Russian media and public figures. Just in 2024, 80 Russian resources were blocked. All big channels, by the way. I'm not talking about tiny channels like mine. I'm talking about big channels with hundreds of thousands of followers, millions of followers even. Yes, this Russophobia on internet continues, and censorship. And well, I'm a bit surprised that my channel is still not blocked. But I'm gonna be real, by the way. I wouldn't be surprised at all if YouTube administration will block my channel at any time. At any time, even though it's a tiny, our community is not really millions and millions of people, but still, I mean, they are against anything Russian, and my channel is from Russia, so they may block my channel also. Who knows? And there is in this post, by the way, you have I shared names of the people that lost their channels on YouTube just now, like a week ago, since 4th of July. And well, this is it. Then I shared the information about live stream, and now let's go through some questions. I miss some questions. So Yaroslav Pelicek is asking, I saw that UA buys over 40% of electricity from Hungary. Is it possible that they would end this by some push of Russia? No, dear friends. I don't think Russia will try to influence Hungary or any other country not to sell electricity to Kiev regime. It's Russia has to take out some energo facilities of Kiev regime because they had this dual purpose. Obviously, Kiev regime is using electricity in their manufacturing plants to create some weapons, to work on damaged vehicles and so on. And therefore, Russia has to take out energo facilities. After all, Kiev is actively using a railway network to transfer weapons and manpower from one direction to another and so on. So it is understandable that energo facilities are dual use, legit targets for Russian armed forces, therefore. But same time, I don't think Russia intends to take out entire grid in Ukraine. After all, there is several nuclear power stations that cannot be touched, and Russia never targeted those power stations, obviously. And there are at least several. In addition, there are at least several power stations, ordinary power stations, thermal power stations, or gas power stations, whatever source of heat is there, that would not be targeted because they are providing electricity to those nuclear power stations, which is very important. I reported so many times, and even today, by the way, there was reports that Energodar city was targeted again by Kiev regime. And of course, Zaporozhye nuclear power plant is in vicinity of Energodar city. So Kiev regime regularly targets Energodar, Zaporozhye nuclear power plant, power lines that are supplying with electricity this nuclear power station. And as we all know, of course, electricity is necessary. Constant flow of electricity is necessary for crucial facilities in Zaporozhye nuclear power plant, including cooling system. But I mean, that's the difference for you between Russia and the Kiev regime. Russia never ever endangered the nuclear power stations that Kiev regime is still in control of. And as I said, there are number of power stations that will never be targeted by Russian side, exactly because those power stations providing electricity to nuclear power stations, so that cooling systems will operate properly and everything will operate properly on those power stations. It's just so obvious, isn't it? So therefore, Moscow would not even try to ask, for example, Hungary or any other country to stop supplying electricity to Kiev regime. No, why? I'm quite sure Russian side is nobody is happy here in Russia that due to the strikes on energo facilities, ordinary civilians, ordinary people are without electricity. But yet again, this is Russia is forced to take action against energo facilities to make sure that Kiev regime has no abilities to freely transfer weapons and munition all around the country on the railway or manpower, and to use their manufacturing capacities to create weapons and stuff. But I don't think Moscow will ask anybody to stop cooperation with the Kiev regime in terms of humanitarian assistance, let's say this way, because right now these power supplies from Poland or Hungary, it's more like humanitarian assistance. I don't see it as military assistance. Poland is involved in military assistance in many other ways, obviously, but Hungary is staying out of this conflict. Nidish Kumar is asking, any chance of Serbia getting back to having coastlines? Well, if Serbia will get united with Montenegro again, then yes, Montenegro has a small strip of coastline. But I don't know. Is it possible that Serbia and Montenegro will get united? Theoretically, by the way, if Serbia, Montenegro, and Croatia will overcome differences, it's gonna be extremely difficult between Serbia and Croatia, especially. Then, well, if they will create confederation, let's say, sometime in the future, to cooperate with the rest of the world, with the multipolar world, then yes, Serbia will get to coastline. But otherwise, I'm afraid Serbia will stay landlocked. So this is Serbia, by the way. This is Montenegro here, and as you can see, if Serbia and Montenegro, Chernogoria, as we said, if they will get united, then there is a small strip here of the coastline, and obviously Croatia. Croatia also has a Croatia is a coastline country basically in its entirety. But I don't know. Bosnia Herzegovina is also landlocked. They are very close to the sea, but not there really. I don't know. Maybe one day, by the way, they will get united again, because this is our brotherly nations, by the way. I mean, Bosnians, Serbians, Croatians, Chernogorians, they are brothers, by the way, or Macedonians, or Macedonians. They are brothers, and Western ruling class managed to provoke this civil war between their brothers, and they destroy Yugoslavia that way. So yes, I mean, to answer your question, only way Serbia can get to coast is to unite with Chernogoria again, but right now, I don't see this is happening. I don't know, maybe our friends from Serbia or Montenegro from our community will tell us more about it, but I'm still kind of confused why they split. Why Serbia and Chernogoria split, man? They are one people. What the hell, man? I don't get it, you know? Yes, Bobby LaForce just commented, by the way, that Montenegro are ethnic Serbs too. Yes, yes. This is one people. So why they get splitted? I mean, what the hell, man? What's going on there? You know? I don't get it. You know? Rafael Petro is commenting, Larry Johnson confidently concluding a children hospital hit by Ukraine, USA ground air missile. Daniel Davis, deep dive YouTube channel. You are thinking Werner von Braun, who brought her colleagues along? Yes, that's what I was talking about. Yes, Werner von Braun. He was in head of that group that was creating these FAU-1, FAU-2 missiles, isn't it? That then was used by Nazi Germany to strike UK predominantly. Right? FAU-1 was a land launch missile. FAU-2, this was like cruise missile. And they caused huge devastation into UK, and so many civilians were killed by those strikes. And US leadership just told those Nazi criminals if they did nothing, you know, if it was nothing. And you think why there is a quite bigger Ukrainian diaspora in Canada? Who are those people? Majority of them, not all of them, by the way, don't get me wrong, but significant number of people that are in Ukrainian diaspora, they are descendants of Ukrainian neo-Nazis that were fighting alongside of Nazi Germany and committing numerous war crimes against civilians. Poles, Jews, Belarusians, Russians, everybody. They didn't like, even against Ukrainians, by the way. Ukrainians who opposed methods of those neo-Nazis were also killed in mass. You know? And UK has, UK also took Ukrainian neo-Nazis, quite a number of them. You know? And well, when it comes to first part of your comment about that missile strike, yesterday, day before yesterday, I spoke about it, and I'm absolutely convinced that it was NASAM's missile, NASAM's air defense system missile, and the Russian ambassador to UN, Nebezhny, I believe, shared even more detailed information on this matter, and he said that this NASAM's battery that launched that missile was transferred to Kiev by Norway. So that this is a level of specifics that you cannot know if you don't have a very good knowledge on the matter, right? So obviously, I mean, to me it was clear after a few hours of that incident that it was air defense systems missile, because I saw that video when this missile is falling down in the vicinity of that medical facility. Although initially there was a bad quality picture, screenshot of that missile before it failed, and it looked like a Patriot missile, but later on more clear pictures were shared on internet, and there you can see that this missile has stabilizers in the middle, and stabilizers are characteristics of the NASAM missile, NASAM's air defense system missiles, and I did show these photos and videos on my previous updates. So yes, I agree with Larry Johnson that it was air defense systems missile, but it was I believe it was NASAM's that were delivered to Kiev regime by Norway, because that's what Nebezhny said, and I don't think this top Russian diplomat will say anything like that without having a good knowledge on the matter. Moonlight Shadow is commenting, well, if the West got the best scientists after the World War, how come Russia was there first to get Sputnik into the space then? Well, by the way, Russia also took Soviet Union discovered several areas where these FAU-1 missiles were stored, and some engineers were taken by Soviet Union also. It is also true that some engineers that were, majority was taken by Western states, mainly US, of those leading scientists that were in charge of these military projects. But number of scientists, some of them wanted to cooperate with the Soviet Union, and therefore they make their choice and did not went to areas that were occupied by Western forces. And they wanted cooperation with the Soviet Union. Maybe they were communists, or they had their close ideology to Soviet Union. Some were war prisoners, and as war prisoners were taken, and they were sharing their knowledge with the Soviet Union on the technologies, and yes, Russia, Soviet Union, by the way, was leading nation when it comes to rocketry. Still leading nation, by the way, even now. US still cannot deal with hypersonic weapon systems. I mean, and of course, Soviet Union was first country to put satellite in space, first male in space, male cosmonaut, female cosmonaut. Russia, Soviet Union, by the way, was pioneer in space explorations for sure, and still one of the leading countries, by the way. Still one of the leading countries in this regard. I hope BRICS member states, Russia, China, India, Iran, South Africa, Brazil, many others, all the others, by the way, will communicate, scientists will get together, and BRICS and emerging multipolar world will lead the charge together in the space explorations, because science, culture, sport should unite us, not divide. And that's why I'm happy, by the way, whenever I hear some success that was achieved by NASA scientists or Western scientists. I'm happy for them because it's success for all of humanity. That's how I see it. You know, King of UK at time was a massive Nazi fan. Al Peterson is commenting. Yes, I mean that's why I said that elites at the time of the UK and many other countries, by the way, in the West were very much in fans of the Hitler and this emerging Nazi fascist ideology, and it lasted for longer than you know, many anticipating, because some people may don't know that Spain, decades after end of Second World War, was still fascist, under fascist dictatorship, and Portugal, by the way, for example, you know, and that's the relatively recent history. Yaroslav Pelicek is commenting. I saw that I already answered to this question. And yes, Nidish is commenting that they all supported apartheid in South Africa. Also true, isn't it? Also the true. So I'm telling you, by the way, Western ruling class, it's they are no good people, by the way. I mean, I want to be wrong, because of course world to get to next stage of development and humanity to get to next level of development and progress, of course world needs to be united, and I see united world together when all of us are together, and of course Western, collective West or Western countries are part of this world, and we should be together. But elites of the West, by the way, they are, unfortunately, they really are evil people, you know. They are cruel. They have no love in the heart, by the way. They are too cruel, and this goes for decades and for generations, by the way. Western ruling class is a evil force for centuries, you know. I don't know why, man. Why they cannot act as normal humans, man. I don't know why they are so bad people, but it is what it is, man. Which is really unfortunate. I mean, you know, for everybody. I mean, for citizens of Western states and for rest of us also, because these people are in charge of their countries. They are controlling countries that have nukes, like US, by the way, like UK, like France. You know, and they can basically destroy entire world as if they want to. Those evil people. Bobby LaForce is commenting, Levan, what Ukraine Nazis were for Russia, these were Croat Nazis for Serbs. I can understand what you are commenting. Croatia, unfortunately, was an ally of Nazi Germany, by the way. Many people don't know, but Nazi Germany during the 30s and 40s had many allies in Europe, and Croatia was an ally. Croatia, Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, by the way, many others. Italy, obviously, was an ally of Nazi Germany, and nothing to be said about volunteers. Tens of thousands of volunteers from all over Europe, by the way, from France, from Spain. Spain was an ally of Nazi Germany, obviously, also. From Norway, Finland was an ally of Nazi Germany. It was an assault of entire Europe, by the way, on Eastern Europe. Western Europe, collective West, basically, get united, one may say, with the exception of UK. They get united and start war on the Western Front against UK and Eastern Front against Eastern European states, including Soviet Union. Of course, I know, by the way, some may argue now that Denmark was not ally, or Netherlands were not ally officially of the Nazi Germany, and Norway was not official ally of Nazi Germany. Yes, I know that. But tens of thousands of volunteers from those countries enter SS divisions, isn't it? And that's also part of history. So unfortunately, yes, Croatia, they were allies of Nazi Germany, which is really unfortunate, you know. And this Tito, Yugoslavian leader, he was a Croat, isn't it? I may be mistaken, but I think Tito was ethnic Croatian. But I'm not quite sure about it, but I think so. Anyways, I have to. Wow, it's already more than 2 hours. By the way, I have to end this live stream. Nidish Kumar is commenting, how sure of you to see these Olympics held successfully? Nidish, if you are asking what I think about Olympics, I don't think this is Olympics even. It is some sort of games, and then that's it really. And I don't think it will be a success, or it will be remembered as some sort of triumph of the Olympic ideology. Definitely not, because Olympics games should be unifying, not dividing, and we cannot say this about anything that a modern International Olympic Committee does. So therefore, I'm not going to call these games Olympic games, so-called Olympics, okay? But these games are destined to be failure. I mean, it is what it is. They're destined to fail, you know? Oh, our craft is commenting that Tito was Slovenian Croat, so I was somewhat correct, there. Thank you very much, our craft, for additional information. Yes, I was thinking that he had some connection with Croatia. I just couldn't remember details of that. So yes, it's good to know that my memory is still more or less in a good form. So yes, Bobby LaForce is also saying that yes, Tito was a Slovenian Croat. Thank you, dear friends, for additional information. Carlos Gaspar is commenting, Belgrade allowed the rounding up of Jews in 1942. Well, I don't know about that. It is in 42, by the way, under occupation. Serbs never cooperate with Nazi Germany, dear friend. I'm 100% sure on that. Serbs never cooperate with Nazi Germany. They fought bravely against all Nazis. But in the occupied countries, unfortunately, there was this tragic developments when Jewish people were separated from rest. These ghettos were created there, and many people, many Jews were eventually killed, tortured. This is a shameful part of human history. Obviously, what happened to Jewish people and many other people, by the way, also during the Second World War. Obviously, so. So yes, I mean, there were so many tragedies, and war crimes that was done by Nazis and their collaborants with the Nazis during those years. Yes, unfortunately, yes, that's a shameful part. That part of history of humanity is definitely shame for human race, 100%. I cannot, if you think, if you even think about through what horrors Jewish people go through during the Second World War, by the way, in Europe, I mean, you will be terrified, you know. I mean, just to even think about it, you will get terrified. It's just too scary, by the way, and many other peoples also, by the way. You know, Slavs were treated by Nazi Germans no any better, and millions and tens of millions of Slavs were slaughtered by Germans. They treated Slavic people or Soviet people, in case of Soviet Union, as subhumans. They did not see us as humans. I don't know what was wrong with them, but that's what's their ideology, you know, unfortunately. But it's just 2.5 hours already, this live stream. I have to end, dear friends. Bobby LaForce is commenting, Yugoslavia was their country that has liberated itself. Red Army came in autumn 1944 and helped her. Yes, thank you, Bobby, for additional information about those dramatic times of human history. And dear friends, if I may, I will end this. Oh, let me check, by the way, to make sure I did not miss a comment or question. So I will end, if I may, now, because really 2.5 hours of the stream. Thank you all who for your attention, for your questions, comments. We really had a good, friendly, informative conversation, I believe. Great. Thank you all for your comments, for your questions, and many thanks to all the members of our community who will watch this video later on in a recording. I hope they will find this conversation of ours interesting and informative. And yes, if I may, I will end this live stream now. Once again, thank you very much. You are a great community, dear friends. Thank you all. And bye.